genetic study reveals surprising connection between indigenous peoples of the Amazon and Australasia. A groundbreaking genetic study has uncovered an unexpected link between Native Americans in the Amazon and indigenous populations in Australasia, including Aboriginal Australians, New Guineans, and the Andaman Islanders. This discovery suggests that a previously unknown migration wave reached the Americas thousands of years ago, significantly altering the narrative of human migration and the peopling of the Americas. The research, led by David Reich, a Harvard Medical School professor of genetics, challenges long-held beliefs about the ancestry of Native Americans. For decades, the prevailing theory was that most indigenous peoples in the Americas descended from a single migratory group, known as the First Americans, who crossed the Bering Land Bridge from Siberia around 15,000 years ago. However, this new evidence reveals a more complex and layered history. "It's incredibly surprising," said Reich. "The dominant model, which I myself have supported, suggested a single wave of migration south of the ice sheets was responsible for the genetic makeup of most Native Americans. This new discovery shows we've overlooked something very important. A challenge to the single origin theory. For years, researchers believed that the first Americans, a founding population, were the sole ancestors of indigenous groups across North and South America. These early settlers were thought to have given rise to the diverse indigenous cultures from the Arctic to the southern tip of South America. While some additional migrations were identified, such as groups contributing to the ancestry of Arctic indigenous peoples, these were seen as exceptions rather than the rule. The latest study, published in Nature on July 21st, fundamentally revises this narrative. It demonstrates that indigenous groups in the Amazon, such as the Surui, Caritiana, and Zavante, share a genetic connection with indigenous Australasian populations. Pontus Skoglund, the study's first author and a postdoctoral researcher in Reich's lab, initially detected this connection while analyzing genetic data from a 2012 study. "This result was unexpected and frankly confusing at first," said Reich. "We spent months trying to explain it away as an error or artifact of data collection, but the evidence only grew stronger." The discovery of population Y. Through meticulous analysis, the team identified a genetic contribution from an ancestral population they named Population Y, derived from the Tupi word Waipiquera, meaning ancestor. Population Y represents a lineage that is more closely related to Australasian peoples than to any known groups in the Americas or East Asia. The researchers analyzed genetic data from 21 Native American populations across Central and South America and supplemented this with newly collected data from 9 indigenous groups in Brazil. They then compared these genomes with those of approximately 200 non-American populations. The connection to Australasian populations persisted, even after accounting for potential contamination from post-Columbian European, African, or Polynesian influences. Skoglund noted, "We've conducted extensive genetic sampling across East Asia, and no existing population matches this unique genetic profile. Population Y appears to be an ancient group that has since disappeared, leaving behind only this genetic imprint." A complex migration story. The genetic markers associated with population Y are particularly concentrated in certain Amazonian indigenous groups, yet they are absent in most other Native American populations across the Americas. This raises intriguing questions about the history and interactions of early migratory groups. The researchers estimate that about 2% of the ancestry of modern Amazonians comes from population Y. However, the total contribution could be much higher if population Y interbred with other groups, such as the First Americans, before reaching South America. In this scenario, the genetic legacy of population Y could account for up to 85% of the ancestry of some Amazonian groups. Theories and open questions. Reich and his team proposed that Population Y and the first Americans were two distinct migratory groups that arrived in the Americas during separate waves. However, the precise timing, migration routes, and interactions between these groups remain unclear. One tantalizing clue lies in the skeletal remains of early Native Americans found in Brazil. Some of these skeletons exhibit cranial features that researchers have argued resemble those of Australasian populations. Future studies of ancient DNA from these remains could provide critical insights into the mysterious Population Y. "We still don't know the full story," said Skoglund. "Questions remain about the order of these migrations, the time gaps between them, and how these groups interacted once they reached the Americas." A new chapter in human history. This discovery reshapes the understanding of ancient human migrations and highlights the complex and interconnected nature of early human history. It underscores that the peopling of the Americas was not a straightforward, linear process, but a dynamic and multifaceted journey involving multiple waves of migration and interaction. "This is just the beginning," said Reich. "While we've gained a broad understanding of the deep origins of Native American ancestry, there's still much to learn about the relationships among indigenous groups after their initial arrival in the Americas." The study also underscores the importance of indigenous perspectives and the need for collaboration with native communities in uncovering and interpreting their history. This revelation is a powerful reminder of the enduring mysteries of human migration and the invaluable contributions of genetic research to understanding our shared past. The story of Population Y not only enriches the history of the Americas, but also highlights the remarkable resilience and diversity of indigenous peoples across the globe.